Okay, hi guys, trying again. I just realized I hit the start recording button on OBS instead of the start streaming button when I meant to be streaming. Um, I'm going to do another video reaction tonight to one of my home videos, the longest home video I have about a trip that I took to Washington, D.C. in the month of April 1994. It was within a few days of Kurt Cobain's death, so that's what was on most people's minds. That didn't mean anything to me at the time. I didn't get into alternative until after that. But my mom, my brother's friend Jay, and I went down from Syracuse to visit my uncle who lived in Laurel, Maryland, a suburb of Washington, D.C. As I've said several times before, he used to be the chief assistant to the head of the Department of Computer Science at the University of Maryland, where he was working at the time, and we dropped in for a visit on that occasion. That was one of the very few times I have been out of New York State in my conscious lifetime. Since then, I think I've only been outside of New York three times. Once when I went to a job interview in Des Plaines, Illinois in 2008, the Ultimate Typing Championship, and another typing contest I went to, the Cincy Typing Challenge in 2013. That was a total fiasco because the keyboard they used didn't work. It was like an engineering exercise to get it to work. So whoever ended up winning was the guy, Robert Price, who was a far better engineer than I was. Whoever could engineer and jury rig a way to get it to work, that was what ended up determining who won. And he won $5,000, but I wouldn't have won it because I would not have figured out how to engineer that so I could use it so quickly. And he deserved it, but I ended up not even making the finals for that, and that was embarrassing. I talked about that in my book. But those are the only three times I've been outside of New York State, not even for any of my Scrabble tournaments since the year 1994. Like all the Scrabble tournaments I went to. Rome, Utica, East Syracuse, Whitesboro, Poughkeepsie, and the National Scrabble Championship that year. The one year I went was in Buffalo. They had another one in Buffalo in 2018, but by that point I didn't want to go. But yeah, I didn't even visit other college campuses. I thought I never visited a college campus until the day I set foot on Cornell, and I wrote that in my book. I apparently forgot because I later found evidence that I had written down somewhere that actually I did visit Cornell once before I started, but I did not remember that at all. Um, but yeah, I did not go on vacation too many times. This was like the only major one in my childhood, and I'm glad that I still have footage of this. Um, I believe I mentioned this on my previous recording, but not on this stream. I pushed the start recording button instead of the start streaming button. I messed up. But my uncle had muscular dystrophy and was told that he would not be able to live past the age of 21 when he was like 19 or something. He ended up dying at the age of 59 in the year 2010, so we made it a good ways past that. My uncle was in desperate, dire straits at that time, and and he ended up joining a religious cult called the Children of God, or they later became the Family International, and they had some famous members like the Phoenix Brothers, Reverend Joaquin, and Jeremy Spencer from Fleetwood Mac, the era of Fleetwood Mac nobody really remembers after they were the blues band, before they were the pop band. And my uncle was in this group, and so was this person, Jay, who accompanied us down there. But I mean, we had nothing to do with it. Hi, rethinking reality. But anyway, I have this video from back then that I will be playing now. We spent some time in my uncle's office in his condo, and most of it is at the Air and Space Museum. And this is the longest video I've got, and since it's the longest video I've got, and it's late enough today, and I also have work to do, I'm not going to be doing any typing afterward, I don't think. All right. There was somebody who told me that I didn't have enough light on my previous stream. Yeah, I know. The light bulb went out on the light that was behind the couch. And the thing is, we were only using incandescent bulbs, and now they are illegal. I've still got like a lot of incandescent bulbs all over the place, but I just steal one from one place and plug it in wherever else. So I took one of the bulbs from another lamp and put it in there. So now I've got some light here. And yes, I know the smoke detector is still beeping. I've been looking for which one it is. I have not been able to find it. My mom, as I told you, my mom hoarded a lot of stuff. She hoarded like 10 or 15 smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. I can't figure out which one it is, and I don't know where it is. I've been looking around. I looked around for like an hour, and I still couldn't find which one it was, so it's still going to be beeping, but yes, I'm aware. Anyway, here we go. I will open it. I didn't have it prepared. I probably should have, but um, okay, there's the one I just showed. Um, okay, this is it, I think.
What's the animal's name?
Yeah, okay, this is it, I think, and it's starting in my uncle's office. Um, I used to carry this stuffed cat around me all the time. I had I had three stuffed cats, the kitty kitty kitten brand. I still have them. I haven't looked at them in many years, but the first one was named Gracias, the second one was named Daynata, and the third was named Kelly. I really fell for the advertising when I was a kid. Um, I don't think they were as pretty as they appeared in the ads.
Kitty kitty kittens come with a personalized. And now
And it was obviously marketed exclusively to girls, so I can't imagine what people thought about that in the 90s. Just another one of my weird oddities, and I always brought them everywhere with me for a while, and I chewed them, and they were all like completely destroyed. I still have them. I don't know why, but I mean, if anybody wanted them, I'd give them away, but anyway.
What's the animal's name?
It wasn't February 22nd, 1993. It was April 1994. I don't know why that date is there.
Who?
Exactly. That is for statue, and it's a really lunch. It's a really big statue. And I didn't really have breakfast either.
You want to hear a strange coincidence? I have the exact same phone and the exact same lamp, but mine's black. Is this required? No idea.
Toilet. This is it, buddy. This is your townhouse.
What you see is what is here. Thank you. Do you have any pair of socks, Kathy? Would you like some socks?
Yeah, maybe the footage is too bad to even work. I don't know. Computer audio is very loud compared to your voice. Hearing the keyboards going so fast always made me want to become a digital engineer. I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with typing, I don't think. I'm not even really sure what a digital engineer is, unless it's just a more complex word for a programmer, but all right, I'll see if I can fix that. And you can hardly make out any of the words anyway. All right, lower the desktop audio maybe, and then it'll be better. You probably still won't be able to make out any words. Um,
No, okay, let me see if I can... Alright. Oh, yeah, that's what it does. Yeah, we're recording now. Give us a performance, Kathy. Let's hear some Stevie Ray. Okay. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to play it. I'm playing it for people forever. Sean, cut the talk show. That joke to the camera.
And people think my production values are bad. I mean, my uncle had muscular dystrophy, as I said, so I mean, it was probably hard for him to hold a conventional camcorder. And he always insisted on walking, even though he probably needed a wheelchair the whole time. And yes, my mom used to play guitar all the time. Stevie Ray Vaughan was her favorite rock artist, and then she liked Bach and Handel in classical.
You got a good joke? Huh? You got a good joke?
What's the cat's favorite part of Jefferson?
I don't know.
The category.
That's funny.
It never gets better. Yeah, right. I don't blame everybody.
No, they're not. They're on the line. Those aren't good. No, here's a good underline. You can pick that one if you want. You're the one who would have been out right.
The same sort of thing. Photographers of the...
And what's this building we're coming up on right here? In the car. Washington. Recycling center? No.
2, 1. The show is back again. Trip to DC has lost its power.
No, they're not. They're on the line. Those aren't good. No, here's a good underline. You can pick that one if you want. You're the one who would have been out right.
I used to love to pick dandelions.
All of that is so scary because my opponents that don't scare me.
Let's see the elevator that we're getting at.
On the right elevator, which is kind of strange. I don't think was level 3. Out. Well, there's one of them.
To the left.
To the
left. Left.
3:54 p.m. Shut up. $3:57 p.m. Getting a close-up at a door or something else. Hold my dandelion photographer. Hearing the loveliest things are talking. Oh, no, I like that unit first.
Which one?
That one. Oh, unit, well, yeah, I like that one better. That one looks a little dry.
My uncle did a lot of work on nearest neighbors stuff, trying to find the closest the closest data points that most closely match a particular set of multidimensional data. I mean, I think I understood this better when I was in college, but I didn't even get to his level at that even then. And that's what the internet looked like in 1994, kids. I mean, I don't think Netscape was even around then. The only browser at the time was, I think, Mosaic, and I'm not even sure there was a way of creating a screenshot at that point in 1994, although the idea of filming a computer was pretty silly. And then he spent a couple of hours in there just playing whatever computer game this was. He was a much bigger gamer than I was, to be honest. I was never into games like he was, or even my mom, I think. I mean, besides Scrabble and typing games, I did not play a lot. The audio does get better about 15 minutes in, so I'm just going to leave this muted, since if you're not going to be able to hear any words anyway, it's just annoying. Unfortunately, I can't read whatever the game is. Obviously primitive, but I mean, most things in 1994 are primitive. That was probably a game from the 80s anyway. I mean, I know there were some things that were more graphically intense that were coming out then, like Myst and Doom, but that's obviously much older. My cat Mitty is, by the way, sitting right in front of me on the table where my keyboard used to be. Alright, the audio isn't any better. But it does get better, and I can see why he cut this out. But I did like spending a lot of time in computer rooms as a kid. My dad used to work for a company called Anarin Microwave that started out making parts for missiles and weapons during the Cold War, but then after the Cold War ended, they pivoted to wireless technology stuff. And my dad worked in the computer room there, and he was kind of one of the underlings there, so he was the one who had to back up the system, do the system save once a month. So every month he would bring me in there, and I would accompany him there, where he was on these terminals connected to an old IBM mainframe called an AS400. I mean, everybody, I mean, both my dad and my uncle probably expected me to be some kind of a computer programmer. And I mean, I did develop some skills, not enough to ever get hired at it, but I feel like I really disappointed both of them as far as that goes. Like, my uncle was always telling people that's not a science and stuff, about any field of study that he did not take seriously. I remember he was groaning and stuff when I ended up being an economics major because he thought that was beneath me. I actually applied to the University of Maryland's graduate school on accident when I was looking up information on Maryland, and my uncle's boss saw it, and he didn't reject me. He just told me to try again when I was older, but he figured that I wouldn't choose Maryland, and I didn't. Although, I mean, maybe with my connections there, I might have at least not had to pay as much in loans. Well, but I would have been an out-of-state student, so it probably wouldn't have been smart anyway. And the spring before my high school graduation, or a couple months before my high school graduation, my uncle lost his grant money, and then I never worked again after that. I believe he was fully on disability for his muscular dystrophy after that, until he died 7 years later. Any better now?
You can't see computer very well because you can't see electronic.
No, not really. After this scene ends, I'll look and see if anybody made any comments. Probably not, because this has to be boring the shit out of you.
Here's the time. Is it in the picture?
Saturday, time 4:30. Uncle Steve is still in the game.
I was always obsessed with reporting what time it was. Well, I was obsessed with anything numeric related at that point. I mean, I think one of the things I did while I was down there that week was I invented some of my own numbering systems, which was, well, invented in quotes. Really, what I was doing, I guess, was discovering other bases other than binary decimal and hexadecimal because nobody uses anything else. But at least I think I thought I was inventing my own numbering systems or whatever. I mean, maybe at some point in my life I was destined to be some math PhD candidate. It never really worked out like that because I think I was more interested in academic competitions than I ever was into academics, which explains why I became the fastest typist in the world for a while and also dubiously employable at the same time. Because I was like way better, at least relative to my peers and stuff like the Math League meets, the spelling bees, and all that Scrabble stuff, at least relative to my academics, which were also very good, but probably not as elite. That part honestly looks like some grunge video or something. I thought this was going to be better than it was. It does get more coherent later, and I may just. All right, if we're just looking at a roof here, um, okay, okay, this is where it becomes coherent again. Did anybody say anything? Okay. Okay, so there are a couple people into this. Um, yeah, I used to call my uncle Uncle Steve. I'm sure you'll hear that at some point. I thought I made that up by myself. It turns out I stole it apparently from Family Matters, what Richie called Steve Urkel.
Uncle Steve, you got a minute? What's up?
And 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 apparently I co-opted that and called my uncle Uncle Steve based on that. I thought I invented it, but I stole it from frigging Family Matters. Well, I was obsessed with all the TGIF sitcoms as a kid. I mean, Full House was my favorite show on television and stuff, and I liked all of them. I mean, most of them I can't even remember, but I would say Boy Meets World and Dinosaurs were the only shows that were straight up good, and even then, not for long. Family Matters was decent, everything else sucked. Of course, I know that now, but I was obsessed with that schlock and lots of other family sitcoms like that, and so that's apparently where I got Uncle Steve from, and I'm sure you'll hear that at some point. Okay, now I think the audio's cleared up by this point. Oh, right, it's not YouTube.
5 p.m. and we're finally leaving Uncle Steve's workplace to get my deal, which I have been here a mile already.
Okay, now let's pretend we're cops. Tell us about the bus they're about to go make. It's got to feel speeding.
Edit that out.
Alright. We're going to edit that one out. That enough. Alright, we are now approaching the Big M. Not yet in sight. Trying now to zoom in on it.
You're not going to get the one with the buses.
There's some buses in the way.
Just a shuttles away from here. We've got a big campus so we can get a picture of the M, which is only starting to grow.
There it is.
Are they
When that car gets out of the way, oh, perfect view of it.
Oh, that's an M.
Yeah,
Take that M. Wow.
Zoology,
It's 5.
psychology department.
It's 5:30 p.m. and Jay is getting crazy, taking everything he can see.
Absolutely. What's the stadium? Bird Stadium. This is Bird Stadium. And they've got college students apparently having a good time, having a tailgate party. No, it's not even just the stadium.
I could do it for half a semester and never getting the class on time. You're thinking of my age, but I wouldn't. That would be the wrong job. So it's difficult to
I guess not. We must have just drove by the stadium. Yeah, I agree. Dinosaurs was good. At least like the first 2/3 of it until the baby started starring in music videos. Um, I don't know if I'd call 1994 ancient, but yes, I mean it's even lower quality than the stuff I make. So, granted, my uncle was filming a lot of it, although I guess so. And I have older videos in this. I have videos from like '89. There's a video from like '91 of me typing, I think.
Is that right here?
That's the right.
Recycling center. There's people with trucks there. Now we're going to go and recycle.
Well, that's what happens today.
Okay, Sean, we're recording.
I know you're going to hate to hear this, but almost a year ago.
Do you want the time on here? Do you want me to put the time on? And you want the date too? Or no, you can only have one or the other. You want time or date? Yeah, but this one you can only do one or the other.
Time.
Okay, the time is 1:04.35, 36, 37, 38.
Today is
Of course, back on top of those guys
Monday,
is
the 12th, and we are just trying to pass a red light, which is
right?
currently a green light, but we can't move.
And the Asians. But it's white, just whatever. And we will record later. Okay. Here we are in the car, Washington, D.C. I'm now zooming in on the Capitol building.
Okay, finally it's audible.
What's going by there? See the dome.
I am a star. I need a photographer.
The East Wing was in the...
I need a photographer.
Hang on 1 second.
Please,
We don't have a real good shot of it, but this is the... Oh, we got some...
trees there. A very bumpy road.
We got some beautiful trees we're getting some good shots of. Yes, a very bumpy road. Trying to make it as smooth as possible.
May I have
As if my footage wouldn't have been even worse than this as a 9-year-old. Anyway, you could adjust your volume for the PC, because I'm having to turn it up when you talk and having to abruptly turn it down when you play the videos. Okay, so it's still too loud. It isn't coming out too loud to me. All right, so desktop audio should go down a little. Okay, did that work?
Okay. You get to do the computer and figure out how to
Now we're getting a zoom on Kathy's chest.
Okay, there's the Air and Space Museum.
Kathy is my mom. I always call my parents by their first name. Well, I mean, you saw that in the other video too.
Robert to the right. And what's this to the right? Museum of Art.
It's a song.
Museum of Art.
Why isn't it going? It's a drink.
And what's this building we're coming up on right here? This
It's not on the film.
Oh, this is the... Is this the one we went in yesterday?
No, you
The
actually,
Capitol.
if you go slow, you can probably pick up the rating there.
Is that my last roll of film? I don't have any film left. Did you put your film and my film and your... Where's my 400?
The Hirshhorn, the round building, and then the castle, which is the main administrative building of the Smithsonian.
Well, I've got to have one film. What are they charging for film, right?
Film is not too bad.
You are
And up the building on the right is the one we were in yesterday.
an emergency tree.
When I get to the museum, there's the Museum of Natural History as we drive by it.
And here's the Museum of Natural History coming up.
Where we took the...
Like, half of the stuff I'm saying is like these obscure parodies of 90s television that none of my current audience will understand. There used to be a thing called the emergency broadcast system that always aired on television testing in case there's an actual testing a system in case there's an actual emergency, and then sometimes it would activate if there's a thunderstorm or a tornado warning or something. I'm not sure you guys even know what that stuff was, although maybe my audience is old enough for that, I don't know. It is still loud. Alright, I'm trying. It's coming out quiet here, but oh, right. I don't use headphones or anything, and my audio on my computer is always pretty quiet. I forgot.
Photographs yesterday.
When we're in the museum there, Sean, we're going to let you take some shots.
You get a good picture of the castle now on the left?
It would be
Oh, yeah.
if we were out of the car.
It's sort of, you know.
Here's the castle.
Yesterday,
Yes.
those t-shirts were $5. $5 could really fit the front.
Yes.
Oh my God.
You actually can get a decent t-shirt now.
Get a couple of these, maybe one for Sean.
Tell you, not even that. Like things that are competitive touristy.
I've never seen a t-shirt for $5.
Yeah, I've seen them down here. Yeah, that's true. It's a good deal.
Don't mind the bumpy road.
Then we're coming up to the American history
Where they have the Constitution.
and the history and technology.
Are we gonna be seeing the Constitution today?
We could.
Well, now we're looking for a place to park.
We would. It's right in the front. I think we should. Nabisco. Yeah.
Oh, Sean, don't put things in front of the camera. This is for your school project.
My cat wants to be in it too.
Now we're getting a good shot of the Washington Monument. Focusing up on the top. People look out those two little holes there when they...
Did I turn it down enough yet? The videos are at a 10 and you're talking it is at a 2. Alright. Okay, so audio input capture up and desktop audio down. Okay. Yeah, I'd have better audio mixing if I wasn't doing this live probably, but because I'd be able to hear what other people are hearing.
Up to the top.
The windows, Jay. Windows. They have a name.
Well, that's what I said, windows.
It's the mills.
Here's the Museum of
National History.
American History, which we'll be going into shortly.
They don't save you from the sea. Those are a different kind of glasses.
Well, Jay. I know my legs are tired.
Okay, this is the front of the Museum of American History. Pretty big building. Another shot of the garden.
$40 a week, earn $9 a week.
Did I turn it down enough yet? Alright. Maybe I did.
Has it been 2 weeks? It shows how the census was tracked was processed. A retry. First sentence, read. Actually, when I was your age, Sean, or just a little older, this is what they look like. So this is not really that old.
I see it.
I'm getting some good shots of it here. And then I'll let you make a recording of it.
Something else. But you get the ENIAC. How's that? That's coming up.
One of the first computers, either the ENIAC or the UNIVAC. Maybe that was the ENIAC, the first computer from 1946.
Oh, no.
Damn, color big screen TV. They use that for many
Exactly what he was done. In a language that we cannot understand. This is what we call a concept. And I think that by the year 2000, it will be considered perfectly correct. He's the foundation for the post-war computer These cables connected to the information for another to the tray. These cables like wire
closer back here.
For all the sign here?
that's interesting from my typing book perspective. Remington Univac. Yeah, Remington was the first manufacturer of the typewriter. And I mean, I mentioned that they had a merger and became Remington Rand, and they were one of the first to make mainframe computers. I didn't realize I'd seen one.
I had something like that. Kathy and I had it. The names for things are really silly. There's 8 million transistors.
The guy grew the first transistor.
They're actually there now. They're the crystals, so they have to see them in trouble. Just one of the communication satellites.
Is this like the actual one that was used? Or a model? I'm in complete sync with this television. There's no interference.
Oh, yeah. That agreement with a wiring ENIAC picture.
The date of our historic event was July the 10th, 1962. On that day, America was to take a giant stride in space, and a series of blue ribbon communication bursts would enter the record books. July the 10th happened because a scientist wondered whether or not the tower, like this, could be made to fly. Fly out in space. It was $1 million baby, and every move it made was watched by nature. In the control building, the men had handed over to a deep breath and settled down on their council. It was just about time for the curtain to go up.
history of computers. And how they've developed in the classroom.
Commodore 64, Apple II, original IBM PC. Oh, there's a...
My mother has one of those still.
A Sun 2, one of the first workstations.
Oh, the Apple Macintosh.
And here's the electric shaving motor. Here's the vacuum cleaner coming. Here's the waffle iron.
I think right before this, we went and saw a movie. There was a movie theater in there, and we watched a movie called Powers of 10. That is a documentary, I think from the 70s, where they started on Earth, and then it expanded out to like 10 to the 1st meters above Earth, 10 to the 10th meters above Earth, 10 to the 100th, no, not that. It would have been 10 meters, 10 squared meters, 10 to the 3rd meters, 10 to the 4th meters, etc. Showing expanding from Earth, and then at a certain point it returns to Earth, and then it goes down to the molecular cellular level, 10 to the -1 meters, 10 to the -2 meters, until you see the inside of a cell. It's a cool movie, and I think it's probably on YouTube somewhere. It's sort of well known, about as much as that sort of movie can be, and it got inducted into the National Film Registry, so it probably won't be that hard to find. I've seen it on YouTube before, but I didn't include it in here because I didn't want a copyright strike.
That's a toaster too, the one with the white part. Did you see this toaster? There's the iron.
Are you talking about anything that you're filming?
No, I'm just filming it. And what was this used for?
In a steam engine, that's the steam piston.
This is a piston to a steam engine.
The IRT subway engine.
And let's get a shot of it. Someone standing in front of it just to see appreciation of how huge this is. Let's see if I can get this. The bottom part of it. Look at that. No, that ain't gonna work. It just focuses in on the...
Well, if you try to put a picture here, this barrel, here's where the piston would go right horizontal, and that's how big the barrel would have to be for the steam compressor, right? The steam, so that thing would be horizontal and driving.
Oh, and this is what drove it?
This is what it would drive. Well, the piston would be inside there, right? One piston in the central chamber, and then then off that drives the other wheels.
But that's much smaller than that.
Yes.
This is a small version, like a miniature...
This is right, steam engine. That's a piston above a humongous steam engine.
Oh, and so this is...
The central piston.
That would be one for a huge one, and this is a small one.
A small steam engine. Well, it's relatively small.
My uncle also used to be a lecturer at the University of Maryland. He taught some classes himself. I don't think I'm even in here. I think that's just my uncle and Jay. I think my mom and I are off somewhere else at this point.
Compared to the one that one would go to.
Just think of it, yeah, that's what I think, because visualizing the central steam, right, steam compressor, and the piston goes back and forth.
That is totally amazing.
That sucker was, yeah, I mean, that's... Woo!
All right. Okay. Here we are on the first floor. Still a little sweet. Everything that's on the floor. See some weird gadgets over here. Does that power off? And we'll see you when we get in the bed.
No, there's more, alright.
Okay, we're now in front of the Air and Space Museum. See if we can get some shots so you can see a plane right through the window right there.
Oh, that's something that just missed National Airport.
And there you see no standing any time.
And here you see Sean saying hi. And we'll see you when we get in the building.
Oh, maybe all that other stuff was in the National History Museum. I was just convinced all that computer stuff was in the Air and Space Museum. I thought all the scenes were from there. Maybe the computer stuff was in the National History Museum and this was something else. All right. Then it was here that we watched the Powers of 10 movie, the Air and Space Museum. I remembered all this Air and Space Museum stuff. I did not remember being in the National History Museum at all.
See the model of the Apollo mission to the moon rocket. And behind us is a model of the Eagle.
You mean a man getting that?
inside of the museum.
Of course, I was just as obsessed with clocks and numbers and as cats. I believe I don't know if I spent an entire hour standing in front of the atomic clock, but I was so obsessed with a clock that tells the precise time, so mundane now that you can just look up the time online, which you probably couldn't in 1994. Or wait, yeah, you probably could because obviously the military and the National Science Foundation were um, the most important early contributors to the internet. So I'm sure they had like some constant streaming time, although I'm not sure that any of the web browsers would have been capable of that at that time. But anyway, I spent far too long standing in front of this thing, I believe, with Gracias, and there were pictures. I know there were photographs taken there as well.
Hey, as you can see, the time is not that different from the time we have. We have 1:32.45, 46, 7, 48, 49, 50.
Why did Jay keep thinking that, like, the colon in a time was point? That bothers me now. Oh, so 102 would be the 102nd day, so I can probably figure out precisely when this was. All right, that would be April 12th.
So we're pretty close, actually.
What's this 102?
That's the day.
We have the heartbeat.
Yeah.
My dad often uses this to set one of his PCs at where he works.
Check it out, Ida.
See it down the whole display.
Yeah. Hey, stop it, you're getting...
This is the one. Come on, right here.
This is smooth.
Yes, it is.
You can mimic yourself.
Oh, okay. I did leave all the powers and 10 stuff in there. Okay. 100 meters, 100,000 meters. You can see how it works, but I'm not playing that because that could get taken, even though I'm sure I'm talking over it, which is probably why I kept it. Yeah, I need to keep that out so the copyright bots don't come calling. Why is it not playing?
Sunshine songs.
There's a missile silo. It's actually disguised as spacecraft. If there was any kind of nuclear war, the dome would open up and
Kablamo.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left off. Left off. Look at this.
when you didn't walk up the stairs and back.
No, I can't, so I couldn't keep setting it up the whole time.
Here's a model of the launch pad for the space shuttle. And the model of the space shuttle as well. You can see the large fuel tank in the center and the solid fuel rockets. You can see one of the solid fuel rockets on the left, and there's the space shuttle itself.
Do people still talk about the space shuttle? Do people still remember it? It feels like that's an era of history that's been weirdly forgotten. I guess people still know about the Challenger and Columbia explosions, but it feels like nobody really talks about that anymore.
Now zoom in on it. Damn. Here's the front of the gantry. This background. And here's the other side. So do you. You put it on. Here's a section of the Air and Space Museum called Looking at Earth. We're looking in the exit.
Okay, this is the capsule from the Apollo mission to the moon. First man, the lunar landing.
University of Illusions.
I've never heard of it. Where is that? All that they had to go around.
That's about all it did. I don't know if we put any information at all.
And did they track it coming back into the atmosphere? Do they have like radio sense, so they can know where it is?
Yeah, no, it beeped. Yeah, it transmitted. So you could hear. And supposedly it transmitted over the audio spectrum, so people could actually hear it.
Now, is this the actual one or a model of it?
I'm not sure. It may. Well, it might be a second or third one. Usually, right when they make the spacecraft, you make one or two a backup. This might be like a backup.
This is before. We're gonna edit. We'll be able to edit this stuff out, aren't you? Smaller. Is there any way we can focus better? This is killing our clear.
Oh, I believe that's the Kitty Hawk, the first airplane, if I am not mistaken. I know my mom used Kitty Hawk, a different spelling of it, as her username on all sorts of websites and online services. The first online service. Well, I guess my mom my mom and my dad were on some bulletin board services in the 80s, I guess. They were online really early. I don't think they let me use those, so I don't think I was online until AOL in 1994. But my mom's first screen name on there was Kitty Hawk, spelled with an I instead of a Y. And I think that we went on AOL like right around this time. It was probably within a couple months. And my first username, my first screen name on there was Shawnee, spelled Seannie. I don't know, that was dumb. But my other screen names weren't much less dumb.
Okay. But I'm not convinced of that entirely. And that was when we went there as
Now we're looking at a model of the projector for the planetarium at the Air and Space Museum. It is the Albert Einstein Planetarium. Those are the doors we'll be entering soon. There's Kathy. There's Sean. Mark, Steve, Buddy, Eugene.
He has multiple personalities.
Alright, we're now walking into the planetarium. I don't know how much anybody can see, but you can see the wonderful colors they put on the ceiling. Oh, this is fantastic.
I just read 5 eggs inside. Are you proud of me?
And it's really hard to see, so I think we're going to have to just get a good quick picture of the real. I think the real projector.
Can you see anything?
Yeah, a little bit. It's on there.
Okay.
And so that's the planetarium.
Yeah.
I think everybody would know not to take a camcorder into a planetarium now. Welcome home, planetarium.
We are standing outside of the
U.S. Botanical Gardens.
U.S. Botanical Gardens. And you can see there's some beautiful trees around. We will be getting a better picture of the Capitol, but I'll give you a little shot of it right now. And we'll be back in a few. You can see these sculptured trees. They are spiral shaped. And these little three little balls and the spiral shapes over there.
Over there, there's these.
And there's Sean going to them.
There's these trees that hang down like over the ground. They're almost like, I don't know, bad.
Can you focus on the building straight across the street? Straight across that reflection pool? The shop, straight next one. Oh, that way.
Where? That one? And what building is that?
That's the east wing of the Natural Museum of Art.
And then we have the east wing of the Natural Museum of Art.
You get the reflecting pool.
And in the far distance you can see, again, the Washington Monument. With those things on top.
Yeah, he died about 300 years ago and he's still dead.
Haven't come back to life yet. But we wait with bated breath. Okay. Okay, we're now on Capitol Hill.
I had no idea they'd have a monument to James Garfield. I certainly don't remember that. I mean, I probably wouldn't have known who James Garfield is. Probably most high school students wouldn't. I mean, he's the president who got assassinated that everybody forgot about, but oh, I guess there was some recent TV show about him, so maybe the kids know about him more than they ever did before, but...
This is the Capitol building. This is where all our laws are made. Getting a quick view of the gate around here. Give you some close-ups of the building. You can see there's the stairs where people walk right up. Big famous dome right on top. We can get see what's going on up there. beautiful land all around, too. Yeah, they're all separate buildings. Here we have the judicial building. It's steps going up, the columns, doors going in. There's equal justice under law. We're now looking at the Library of Congress. A rather large building. Goes back pretty far too. You can see spirit statues in the front. Don't mind the cars going by.
Tracy Davidson with 5 on your side. Kathy Orr with you.
To a banana.
Okay, so the rest of this is just some local news broadcast. Oh wait, Smith Road Elementary, I went in there. Was I mentioned in this? Probably not. But I should check.
Tracy Davidson with 5 on your side. Kathy Orr with you.
To a banana. Join Diane McGorman tonight at 11 o'clock.
Well, after a long year of reading, writing, and arithmetic, today Central New York students have found yet another R, relief.
As Keith Copeland reports, this is the final day in one of the most memorable school years for students in one local district.
You're all checking out the first grade rooms now, aren't you? Mm-hmm. It's the last time students will walk the halls this year. These students are just hours away from a much anticipated...
This was my school, so am I in this and I don't even remember it? I must be.
Summer vacation.
Lots of smiles today because the anticipation of getting out is always there.
For students and teachers, this is certainly the best day of the year, a year which has been unlike any other in the North Syracuse district. 4 months ago, the roof over Smith Road's cafeteria collapsed, causing more than a little concern among parents and administrators.
I'll remember the time. You won't forget it because of all the action that was taking place, the number of people that were around, and the seriousness of the time and whether the building was safe.
Now, plywood blocks the doors to the cafeteria, while plans for a new one have been posted on the school wall for all to see. But despite the problem in the old roof, there are new challenges which lie ahead. These new computers are only part of Smith Road's move into the future, helping ease students along the information highway. This is also a day for cleaning out one's locker, for awards, report cards, and supportive hugs from friends who won't see one another until next year.
We're gonna miss you guys!
But above all else, it's a day to look ahead, to vacation, and to next year, when students will make the big move to a new grade or even a new school.
It's going to feel like you're in kindergarten again and everybody's going to pick on you.
In kindergarten again?
Yeah, because you're the small kids. Yeah, new ones.
Small kids get picked on in the big school?
Yeah.
Are you guys going to pick on the small kids once you get bigger in the big school?
Yeah.
So you might say hope springs eternal on this last day of school, because after a long school year, finally,
Summer's here.
We can only hope parents share the same enthusiasm. Keith Copeland, WTVH5 News.
The CBS Evening News is next.
Okay, I didn't recognize anybody in that except for the principal, Steve Carr. The principal and I were sort of, kind of friends. I know I had a lot of outbursts and temper tantrums in those days, and I got sent to the principal's office all the time. I think I wanted to go to the principal's office just to get out of my classes. Maybe so I wouldn't get picked on by other students, or I don't know. But there were times I intentionally misbehaved so I could spend time with the principal. I did like Mr. Carr a lot. But, okay, I'm done with the video. And yeah, that video was kind of a bust. I know that. but I still wanted to upload it. There is some good footage in there, even if almost nothing is audible. Hello, Sean. Did you want help trying to get super chat set up? Also, do you still want to try to do some typing content? I do want to do some typing content. I don't want to do typing content tonight, but maybe later this week, maybe on Friday or something. Because this was a long video and I still have some paid work that I need to do. But I don't think super chats work unless you have enough watch hours to be eligible for the YouTube Partner Program, right? What's my Cash App? Oh, I use PayPal. But I mean, I don't think super chats work unless you're in the partner program, right? Super chat and super stickers are ways to monetize your channel through the YouTube Partner Program. Okay, I got kicked out of the YouTube Partner Program because I didn't have 4,000 watch hours, and that was quite some time again. Yeah, I have enough subscribers. I have over 6,000 subscribers. But the thing is, my watch hours really fell in my level of inactivity. I don't think I ever had 4,000 watch hours in a year. And I got into the partner program for the first time because I had 1,000 watch hours, which was all that was needed at the time. And then it got raised to 4,000, and I never had that. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this video, because it was the longest video I had, but I didn't. I've watched this video and its sister video. There was an edited version of the same thing. I've watched them a bunch of times. I didn't realize they were that low quality. They were lower quality than any of the other ones. Yes, hi, Condeep, try. Yeah, it figures like everybody would start coming in just as I was fixing to leave, because I still have like data to enter and work to do for my various jobs that I am getting paid for. But I wanted to see if I could, well, all right, 52 views, 4.5 minutes average view time, so that's 234 minutes. Yes, I did that in my head. So that's almost 4 hours of watch time. Test typing in web, please. What do you... Typing in web? You mean the site typing web? I don't... Hey, Moro. Yeah, figures everybody would start coming in right after the video, which was the main event tonight, was over, which I understand because that was not a good video. I remember that video being better than it was. I watched it all the time. You could probably set up a 1 versus 1 with anyone really and gain a lot of traction. Check did a 1 versus 1 and it probably got like 50 plus people watching just on Discord without any prior announcement. I mean, I would probably choose somebody popular like Rocket who would kick my ass. But just doing anything really would probably gain more traction than it did even when you were making your book during peak COVID. Yeah. And that is when my channel was growing, and then I abandoned it to work on my racing book. And I suppose I should read from the beginning of my Substack, because I had some personal stuff in here too. I should start reading from my Substack posts as well, because I would like to make some auto racing content as well. I don't know how many people would care. After completing my NASCAR year in review last week, I provide to you my IndyCar year in review this week. I mean, I'm not going to, I don't think I'm going to display anything that was below the paywall, but This one also took a long time because I tend to write more about NASCAR and IndyCar drivers than any others, not because I think they are more intrinsically important than drivers in other series, but simply because those are the series I am most informed about. I don't have time to watch or listen to every series, and I admit most of the time I just listen to the radio broadcasts for NASCAR and IndyCar races because I can't afford television anymore, obviously. And I know that a lot of people would just steal streams online, and I mean I used to do that occasionally, but I never felt comfortable about it. And almost all those illegal streaming sites anyway have all these dodgy pop-up ads and creepy stuff to avoid, and I just decided not to bother at some point. And that's when I'm trying to balance my book work, my 3 jobs, and visiting my mom. The amount I write about a driver has nothing to do with their importance or where I am ranking them, but I'll probably just have less to say about the drivers in other series, since I'm only looking at data I've calculated and perhaps relevant video clips while not actually watching or listening live, so those should probably go faster. I finally got an estimate for the roof repair. It's $25,400, and I can't imagine any chance I'll be possibly able to come up with that. I'm going to try for an emergency loan for that, and I'm going to walk to the bank on Thursday probably, but I can't imagine myself actually getting it because I'm in default to either 2 or 3 credit cards after my last steady job in 2022 got automated. I have a payment arrangement with one of my other creditors, but I'm sure my score is far too low to get that much money from my bank. Helping my case, I did take over my mom's mortgage payments after she was admitted to the nursing home. The payments were automatically being deducted from her bank account, and now that Medicaid is taking all but $50 out of her bank account, I had to pick that up. But since I haven't missed a mortgage payment yet, that might increase my chances that the bank will loan me more money for the roof repair. At this point, I'm just wondering if I should sell the house as is, even though Medicaid will instantly drain all that money. Should I even try to raise that much money to repair the house if I'm just going to lose it after mom dies due to the Medicaid estate recovery program anyway? Mom has been very frustrated about how rude her new roommate has been. Her roommate doesn't even like me visiting her or reading to her. One day she told me, "You're dismissed," because she wanted me to shut up. Last Friday, when I couldn't find Mom and was looking for her in her room, she told me to leave, but I didn't. And there were several times she said I was reading to her too loudly. She also got angry when I sat on Mom's bed to touch her, and like I said, even the housekeeper called my mom's roommate evil. I also find it frustrating the television is on the other side of the room, so my mom has no control over it being on or off, and the other roommate always controls it when I think what she really wants is peace and quiet. So I thought I'd ask the nurse if either mom or her roommate could be moved. Honestly, what I would have preferred was just for the roommate to be moved, to be honest. The head nurse told me she had no available rooms for women, and she'd already moved another patient to another room for a physical altercation, and she commented that my mom was ruder to her roommate than vice versa, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. My mom was a lot ruder last year. The head nurse also told me apparently that a lot of people are trying to force her to be sent to the dementia ward, and the head nurse is fighting this because she wants her to be able to come home, so that might be the only hope. I decided to back down at that point. And then I talked about my YouTube channel and 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 one of the reasons I was going back into streaming. One of the other things that got me back into this, I suppose, is I just listened to a YouTube video I didn't really watch because I was simultaneously continuing to enter data on my master driver list about the downfall of BreadTube and how a lot of those popular left-wing content creators either stopped making videos, beg people for money, or were pathetic in various other ways, and I saw too much of myself in that. Even though I had the right education for a solid professional job, I somehow ended up becoming a mostly starving artist instead, and it still really baffles me how that happened. But I don't know, listening to that guy marginally motivated me to stop wallowing in my self-pity and create content. I need to spend my free time making more content and consuming less. I need to just stop reading random crap that won't make my life better and spend whatever free time I have either making things or socializing with people rather than reading Reddit comments of people I will never meet, which is probably one of my biggest vices, although certainly that's nothing compared to Vauch's vices, for instance. Rocket's pretty inactive now, unfortunately. So everybody leaves after a while. Well, Rocket probably just went to college and is focusing on college, right? Most of my core would be Discord communications anyway, and so there's a difference between that and what's YouTube popular. Yes, for sure. with trying to get this done as well as all my jobs, as well as the roof repair and trying to bring my mom home, it's probably insane for me to think of real world socialization outside the nursing home besides that. But after I went to Mass Saturday afternoon, I stopped at a tabletop gaming store that is also walking distance from my house in North Syracuse and looked around. I never played any of those games like Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering or anything like that in my adulthood. In, 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 in my adulthood, I very rarely played anything other than Scrabble typing games or sports fantasy games. But I'm thinking maybe I should start. I know it is far better to socialize in the real world than online in general, but I seem insufficiently neurotypical to hang out in any of the cool hangouts. I want some kind of real life autism support group for adults, but it doesn't seem to exist. So learning some kind of tabletop gaming could at least give me some nerds, and I spelled it with a Z, to hang with when it seems like I'm far too autistic to hang with anyone who goes to anything else. That was almost as stupid as me calling the capital the Bapital. I have not changed. Or I could go to bar trivia again, but that wasn't really social. Or I could go to Scrabble tournaments again, but I alienated the guy who ran all the Scrabble tournaments around here a decade ago. So that would honestly be too expensive for me to get involved with again. And honestly, I think after my mom dies, I want to move to either Indianapolis or Charlotte to see if I can get a racing job or make some connections. Which is not to say I wouldn't take a normie job in another field, but at least if I was in an area surrounding one of my autistic special interests, I might find it easier to make connections or friends, or even a book deal to formally publish my 1,000 Greatest Drivers list. But I've got to replace stuff like Reddit doom scrolling with something more pro-social, and I know it. Hopefully I'll talk some sense to myself and replace it mostly with paid work. As much as my mom and I yelled at each other about politics and other things over the past couple of years, I vastly underestimated how lonely I'd be without her. He's at the University of Florida and is also like a Geometry Dash main. Now, I barely know what Geometry Dash is. I know it's some game, but I should make a Minecraft Let's Play. That's the thing, though. I mean, with the really popular games, would somebody watch a bad player of a popular game? Would I get more people watching me playing something more popular that I'm bad at than would watch me play something that I'm good at, is the thing. I mean, I know Let's Plays are popular. I know reaction videos are popular. I mean, reaction videos are actually one of the things I'm liking on YouTube right now the most, which I know are like a low form or whatever, but I have been enjoying them, and that's probably influenced me somewhat. I don't think I really spent much time watching other people's Let's Plays, except people I was competing against in typing. Okay, I watched some of Reckful's. Like when Reckful was streaming Type Racer, I would watch him, and then I would and then I would compete, and people would get all excited. I mean, I know that's like bad etiquette to jump in when somebody's streaming, but I know a lot of people do it, and I know those people were excited to have me appear anyway, but there's a Type GG Minecraft server, and I keep still wanting to call it Type Egg. I don't know how much power my computer really has for that. Anyway, the thing is, I mean, would more people watch me playing a more popular game that I'm bad at? I don't know. I'm kind of tired of typing and want to make other content, but yeah, I mean, if I'm really looking to get my watch hours up, that I suppose that would be a way to do it. But I think that I'm going to be getting off soon tonight. I'm not planning on typing tonight. So Rocket is largely stopped. Check is largely stopped. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think all the same people would still watch if you made an offshoot video or two. Yeah, I mean, what I want right now is non-typing subscribers, and I mean, I really think I should be making auto racing content so I can cross-promote this and my Substack. I have done so much innovative research on auto racing statistics, and I haven't shared it here just because I don't think anybody here would care about that. Like I have a certain I have a certain group of people and they just wouldn't care about what I'm making. That's why I stopped making things for a while. But I know there are people who make auto racing videos who do well. And I talk with some of them sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. I'll give it a thought. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are active that are probably comparable to you, or maybe slightly slower or faster, but that isn't really top level anymore outside of maybe non-quit. But most of the people at the really top are inactive outside of Josh. Yes, that's why Josh went out over Czech. I mean, I know that in my book, I predicted that both Josh and Czech would be the best typist of the 2020s. I predicted them both in different parts of the book. I wanted to hedge my bets there. I'm not surprised Josh ended up being the Zoomer me, and Czech was just the Zoomer Jelani Nelson as it turned out, but but yeah, I don't want to type today. I have more paid work to do today, and it's going to take a long time before I get this up to potentially profitable, at least as much as I would be making from my other work. So I think I'm going to get off soon. You probably hear my cat purring. He's really loud. And I've got my hand on him. Maybe you can see him. I don't know. I've still got more videos. I think the next one I might show might be that video I have from circa Christmas 1991. There is a video of me typing from when I was 6. I might do that one next. I still have like 4 or 5 more. And I think they're all more coherent than this. Chuck would probably be 229 quid if he tried. Yes. Yes, he probably could have kept up with Josh, but he just gave it up to focus on his studies, which was smart. Just like Jelani Nelson and I were dead even in 2009 and the start of 2010. I did not overtake him until the summer of 2010, basically, when he was a grad student at MIT and I was unemployed and had nothing going for me. So, yes, I ended up jumping him, but I wasn't going to say I was. Well, I wouldn't have said it was worth it. I got my book out of it, so now I've changed my mind, I guess, but. Okay, Mitty, I'll give you some treats. Are you gonna jump down? Please jump down. Jelani and I were only... Jelani pretty much stopped competing almost entirely after the summer of 2010, or maybe it was even the spring. He had almost entirely stopped competing, so I would say Kathy was probably closer, maybe Izzy, to being my closest comparison. Mako, I didn't always beat him. The thing is, we were both so consistent that if I'm consistently 15 to 20 words per minute ahead of him, which I was always, I mean, Mako and I just improved basically at the same rate constantly. So he'd go up 5 words per minute, I'd go up 5 words per minute at the same time. So I would just be 15 to 20 words per minute above him constantly. And we were both so consistent. Neither of us was an erratic typist, so he wouldn't beat me much. Was it typeracerrecords.php? Yes. 259 and 31 was my record against him at some point. I don't even remember what Kathy's... I don't remember what Kathy's was. I don't remember what her username was. That's unbelievable. Oh wait, she didn't put her name on it. Florentine, alright. I totally forgot that. Okay, I was 205 and 161 against her. So that was probably my closest at the time. And Jelani, oh, Jelani's not even on here. Because I guess I never competed against him after they went to the races that you could view the results after the race. Oh, Type Racer Stats has a command for that now. If you wanted to get more recent numbers, it includes all your races. Yeah, I don't care anymore. I really do not care anymore. But yes, it is kind of crazy. I did that manually. And I was able to do that manually. Wow, 49 to 30? You were that good then? Oh, okay, that's more recent. Okay. Yeah, I was not paying much attention to anything by 2021. Because at the time I was thinking once I was published, I was done. Yes, I wanted to get up to 22,222 races by the first day of 2022, and then I did one more Intersteno in 2022, but that was going to be it for me. And then I came back in the summer of 2023 for that typing contest on Cameron's site. I've got the name of Cameron's site. Man, I'm losing my short-term memory too, but yeah. I came back because I thought I could potentially win money there, and then I figured Keymash, yes. And then I realized I'd never win money in any typing contest again, so then if I enjoyed it more for its own sake, that would be one thing, but I never really enjoyed it for its own sake. I know a lot of you did. It was just something I had accidentally found myself dominating. Do I play video games? Not really. I mean, anymore. When I was a kid, well, the vast majority of anything I ever played was typing games and Scrabble and online fantasy sports games. But when I was a kid, there were video games that I liked. There was a NASCAR game called Papyrus NASCAR Racing 2 that I would play most weekends. I was at my father's for several years in the late 90s. And there was also an IndyCar game, Al Unser Jr. Fantasy Racing or something that I played in 99. There were a lot of AOL games I played. Like back when I was on AOL, there were a lot of trivia games I would play on there. There were like live trivia games where AOL was sort of its like gated own internet where you could be in groups with just other AOL members, and I would play games there. I would sometimes play Yahoo Word Racer a bit. As far as what we would now consider video games, like flashy picture-based games, the two I was really into as a kid were Wizard of War. Does it even have a Wikipedia page? It was kind of obscure. Okay, yes it does. That was like the one kind of shoot 'em up game that I liked, the only one. Oh, I played Oregon Trail when I was in my grade school classes, like almost anybody my age did, and I did have a copy of that at home. There were lots of games I played when I was a little kid. I had Oregon Trail. There was a game called Big Rig that was a text-based adventure where you played as a truck driver and you were hauling fruit and various other shipments across the country. I had I had like PC Atlas and PC USA. Those were sort of games and sort of instructional things. There was of course the CPT personal touch typing game that I learned on. I also had a Yahtzee game I used to play all the time. Um, and I had a um, and I had a Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy disc, and the other thing I really remember playing a lot of was Jumpman. Jumpman was like a Donkey Kong ripoff, I believe. It was an awesome game, but a lot of video game snobs didn't like it, I think, because it was strictly a Donkey Kong ripoff. Or was Jumpman first? I don't remember. Um, oh, okay. Donkey Kong was 81, Jumpman was 83. So yes, it was a ripoff, but it was a very good game, and I liked playing that. But not so much after I graduated high school. But yes, the amount of games I played back then was definitely on the high nerd level. I wasn't into flashy video games. I wasn't into shooting games. I could like viscerally feel the violence. I mean, a lot of my high school classmates were into things like Doom, and it made me want to vomit. Um, I was never I never would have gotten into first person shooters, and then that came to define what people thought all video games were, and I kind of checked out. I'm sure there's lots of other things I'd like, but they'd be more obscure things that I didn't bother to find. And my life is in a shambles enough already. I don't need more distractions like that. What I would really want is like games in real life, as I said. I might teach myself tabletop gaming, like I said, just to socialize with some nerds in real life. Um, am I still friends with anyone from college? Basically, no. I mean, I was I was a white trash nerd boy crashing the Ivy League where everybody is rich and erudite, however you pronounce it. I think both are correct. Cosmopolitan, sophisticated when I was none of those things. I had nothing to offer when everybody was as smart as me, but more athletic, more socially gifted, more connected, richer. I had nothing to offer anyone at Cornell. It was miserable. I was miserable. I like some of my classes. I like some of my professors. The other students I largely loathed. There are still people I talk to from high school. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I feel like high school was the best time of my life because that was the time I was most social, and I felt like I was best able to control. I mean, I was never good at masking my autism, but that's when I came closest to do it when I was in high school. I kind of looked like Jim Hopper. I don't even know who that is. Oh, Stranger Things. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Um, yeah, I never watched Stranger Things. I like lost interest in television once it stopped being television and once it went to streaming. It takes so much energy and effort and money to subscribe to like all the streaming packages you would need to subscribe to keep up with all the hot latest shows and like so my knowledge of television after like the 2000s especially is really paltry. I mostly watched YouTube because it was free. My main my main hobbies, I'd say my main hobbies right now are writing and collecting data. Maybe that's what they always were. I mean, I was always into Scrabble and auto racing too. I mean, I quit Scrabble 8 years ago, but um, I was never that into typing, but I just did it because I was dominating at it and people took notice. Um, but yeah, but yeah, writing and collecting data and analyzing data, that's what I live off of. And I mean, I even had all those statistical chapters in my book. Yeah. I'm still coughing from this virus I had like 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was bad, the 101.6 degree fever. Yeah, I think I should be getting off soon, but yeah, I know I've been a big inspiration to people, even though it's not a huge field, and and I don't regret it anymore. There was a time I regretted all the time I spent on that when I should have been probably learning the program better or whatever. I just could never get myself into it, probably just because like I didn't want to build some app that made people's real lives worse. I was just like hyper conscious of the negative effects that almost anything I could do would lead to, and it just caused me to like not want to do anything, and that was not healthy. Um, but yeah, I don't regret all the time I spent typing because I got my book out of it, which I enjoyed much more, and personally consider a bigger accomplishment than anything I did in typing, even though most people wouldn't. I did. Um, because there were the three books I was basically um, trying to rip off, which were Word Freak by Stefan Fatsis about tournament Scrabble culture. It's not what got me into Scrabble, by the way. Um, my mom was in the Mensa Scrabble by Mail special interest group in the 70s, and my mom actually got the second highest game score ever in that group, 718 points in a game she played in the late 90s. And anyway, I was playing one of her Scrabble games. I would open her Scrabble games before she got them, and I'd read all the newsletters before I was even a member of the group. And there was one time I found a better play than she did in one of her games. She asked me if I wanted my own games because she got annoyed. I said yes, and then I joined the Mensa Scrabble by Mail group when I was 8. I was not a Mensa member. You didn't have to be a Mensa member. Both of my parents were. I never wanted to be in Mensa itself, but I was allowed to join the group, so I joined the group. And that's what got me into Scrabble. And it was one of my opponents, Judy Yavner, who actually told me about that book, Word Freak, and that's how I discovered it. So I got into Scrabble before I knew that book, while a lot of my peers got into Scrabble because of that book. But there was that. There was Ken Jennings' book, Brainiac, and there was Joshua Foer's book, Moonwalking with Einstein, and obviously Ken Jennings' book was about trivia culture, and Moonwalking with Einstein was about the culture of memory competitions. Joshua Foer was the U.S. memory champion, and I basically wanted to write one of those books, but for typing, and I feel like I succeeded. Obviously, I didn't make the bestseller list like all those guys did, but obviously they all had ins in the commercial world. Stefan Fatsis was a Wall Street Journal reporter. Ken Jennings was obviously a celebrity from Jeopardy already by then, and Joshua Foer was in a famous literary family. I mean, one of his brothers, Jonathan Safran Foer, wrote the book Everything is Illuminated, which was one of the most famous novels of the 2000s, and his other brother, Franklin Foer, ran the news magazine The New Republic, and so I did not have the connections those people had, but at least I feel like I was able to write my own book in that vein, and I was very proud to do that, so I don't regret my time in typing. Um, has my quality of life gone up? No, not at all. Have there been any updates about the Ultimate Typing Championship since 2020, or is it probably going to be another 10 years in 2030 that comes back? I wouldn't be surprised if there's never another Ultimate Typing Championship. The 2021 did not get nearly as many YouTube videos as mine did. And I'm sure Czech liked it that way. Czech seemed to want to be a public figure even less than I did, and I did not want to be one much myself. But Czech didn't want to be famous, and I'm sure he's happy that didn't blow up as big as mine did, and he got more money from it. But I think because that one didn't do as well on YouTube as the one I competed in, it wouldn't surprise me if that never happens again. I am an extremely picky eater. There's only like 10 things I eat, and none of them are healthy, and no, I don't eat Indian food. Okay, I'm going to get off in a couple of minutes. I need to do some paid work, but still creating content is always better than consuming content. And what I want is just to spend my time replacing consuming content with creating content. Okay, I still listen to a ton of podcasts. I listen to a ton of podcasts, and when I do that, I'm always doing other work alongside, because I'll listen to a podcast while or a YouTube video while simultaneously entering data either through my sports data entry job or my own auto racing statistics work. But I do listen to podcasts, but I don't just do that. I'm usually doing something else in the background, and that's great for doing stuff in the background. But other than that, I want to try and stop consuming content, stop reading other people's content rather than making my own. Any future plans, goals? I mean, get my credit rating back up, not be homeless, get my mom back home, finish my 1,000 Greatest Drivers book. That's it, right now. And I do want to get my watch hours up on this because I want to see if I can make my channel a thing again. I obviously had some potential where I was at. I mean, Medicaid is not going to not be homeless a good goal of him. Yeah, I know, but I mean, Medicaid is not going to try and collect my mom's home until after she dies. She does have 3 life insurance policies, so hopefully I would be able to use the life insurance policies to move. I just have to make sure my credit is good enough at that time so somebody will rent me an apartment. That is my concern. My concern is after my mom dies. I'm keeping up the mortgage payments, so I won't lose the house until after she dies and Medicaid tries to collect it for the nursing home stay. But and since I don't think my mom is like dying anytime soon, thank goodness for that. But since I don't think that's happening anytime soon, I have some time to hopefully start some payment arrangements with my other creditors so I can start paying them off, and hopefully maybe I can get my credit up so where somebody will rent to me when that time comes. Yeah, I think I can get the watch hours too, and I mean that's why I'm kind of staying on now longer than I wanted to now that more people are tuned into the stream. All right, so now it's 82 views and 6.5 minutes, so that is 521 minutes. That's all right. That's almost 9 hours. All right, so I got it up. Yes, hi Ab Tech, or AB Tech, whichever it is. Probably AB Tech. Yes, Hayayush. I probably butchered your name. Oh, right, it's probably Ayush. Yeah. Yeah, I never really paid any attention to all that alpha, beta, sigma, black pill, blue pill, red pill stuff. I mean, I sort of know what most of those things mean culturally, but I don't know. I did not feel I've ever like hanging around 4chan and learning that jargon. I know a lot of it's from The Matrix, a movie I've never watched. I don't know what 6-7 means. I know people were joking about it because I mentioned that I spent 6 or 7 hours coding that pet website a couple days ago. How did all the fame... Okay, that's a good question. How did all the fame feel from being a typist in the 2010s? Was it exhausting, and did it provide significant financial gain for you? I felt like it was a net negative in my life for years, especially in the first half of that decade. I know if I had known 20 million people would watch those two videos, I might have, for instance, not eaten 2 family-sized boxes of Cheez-Its a week for like weeks leading up to that. Maybe if I'd been a little less fat, maybe if I'd not that I was obese or anything, but I was certainly overweight in terms of body fat percentage, and I've certainly been overweight consistently since then. I mean, never in BMI, but always in body fat percentage. I mean, if I hadn't overeaten, or if I had been wearing contact lenses, or if I just brushed my hair or taken a shower before the thing. I mean, I might have done some of these things if I'd known 20 million people would see this. I mean, so I kind of felt about that, and the way I was being picked on, having people, because of my slovenly appearance, calling me a school shooter or a child molester or all sorts of nasty crap. I mean, neckbeard and virgin is fine. Yes, I'm a virgin. Everybody knows that my virginity is dripping off of my body. I didn't have a problem with that so much because it was true, it was correct. But when people were saying all these nasty things based on their stereotypes of what the worst nerds do, like calling me a school shooter or something, that was rough. And so yes, I kind of felt about that the same way that a lot of the early people who went viral did, like the Numa Numa guy, Gary Brolsma. He hated. I mean, he put that video up himself on Newgrounds, but he hated the reaction it got because obviously he was also an extremely nerdy fellow, and if he knew that that video of his would have been seen over a billion times, he probably would have taken more of an effort to make himself look presentable rather than just letting his freak flag fly to that extent. And that was the kind of YouTube content that always went viral. It was him, it was the Chocolate Rain guy. I mean, Tazon Day must have felt very weird about him writing a serious song about racism and black people getting gunned down in the streets, and all anybody wants to talk about is making fun of him for turning his face away from the microphone. I mean, I guess Tay was better able to deal with his fame, but I mean, Gary, the Numa Numa guy, became a recluse for a while. Like, he was getting all these opportunities to appear on things, and he didn't want to do it for years because he hated blowing up that big. And thankfully, I guess my video didn't blow up that big, obviously, but I felt a lot of the same things he did. Um, did my fame for being a typist provide significant financial gain? No, not at all. Um, $2,000 from the Ultimate Typing Championship, $180 from the Clicking Championship. I actually got more money than Shaq did because Shaq had a bunch of non-monetary prizes. So second actually had the biggest cash prize, $500 in the second Ultimate Typing Championship, I think, and or maybe it was 1,000, I don't remember, and then like $2,000 combined from maybe my book and the Patreon I had for it. No, I mean, no, it, no, there was no money in that. And in fact, it was almost the opposite because I was convinced for years that my social ineptitude that I displayed in those videos was keeping me from getting job offers. I do not know this for sure. There's no way I'm ever going to know that for sure. But I think it was a liability to employers because employers do not want autistic people. I did get a DOS T though. Who the fuck cares about keyboards? I do not. I never did. Ooh, I got a glamorous, glitzy keyboard. Yawn, whatever. Sorry, Moro, I like you, but I just don't care about keyboards. I never did. Um. Joke, Sean. I mean, that reminds me of that question on the ultimate nerdy test. Have you ever taken a rhetorical question? Have you ever taken a joke literally? Yeah, yeah. Um, all right, I need to get off and get some work done. I think I will at 11:45. I'll stay on another 5 minutes. Have you checked out the 6'7" kid? It's the reason why people are making jokes about these numbers because his hair looks like broccoli. I wouldn't even know of DOS keyboards if it weren't for you mentioning the T-shirt last time. Yes, I did kind of like the T-shirts, and I do still wear them sometimes. I mean, I had so much nerdy apparel over the years, and I wore all those shirts too much to make me presentable in the real world. I had like 3 shirts from Math League competitions. I had a Spelling Bee Ace shirt. I had the National Scrabble Championship shirt that I got when I was there in 2014 in Buffalo. I had the 2 shirts from the 2 Ultimate Typing Championships. So much nerdy apparel. Oh, I didn't even know you meant the DOS keyboard T-shirt, DOS T. I was thinking that was one of the models of their keyboards. There are so many people who think I'm some kind of gearhead about keyboards. I knew some, but I am not one. Honestly said, the competitive typing isn't really a thing anymore, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, there was a, there was more money in it back in the first half of the 20th century because the typewriter companies literally hired those guys to tour all sorts of places. They went to colleges, they went to high schools, they went to newspaper offices and granges, and like a couple of the typists actually like met royalty and stuff. These guys went on national and international tours like they were rock stars or something, which is baffling now. And what's even more baffling is how much that's been forgotten. I guess because nobody was really writing about it online until maybe me or that blogger, actually, that blogger from the Australian Typing Museum, Oz Typewriter. That site is where that is what led me. This blog is what led me to doing a lot of my historical research. And I dug up stuff that even he doesn't have, Robert Messenger. But that was an important influence on me as well. Meeting royalty sounds dreadful, but I get what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. Well, I don't think people hated monarchs as much in the early 20th century as now, but yeah, that's not my politics either, but hello again, AB. Hello again, yes. I'm still leaving in a minute. Need to get some paint work done. If I find that video of me typing from when I was 6, I think I might have been shirtless, but I think that the video was also only shooting towards me from the back, so it's not like you see my chest or anything. So yeah, I might do that video if I find it. I think I did digitize that from my VCR, so I think I have that, and I may upload that next because that would have been more interesting to you than that Washington D.C. video, which was way worse than I thought it was going to be. But all right, I'm glad that I'm starting to build an audience again, and thank you and good night.